Hello everyone, my name is Isaiah and I will be your host. In today's interview, we have a special guest who is an expert in teaching concepts in nature through visual arts. Just for a brief background, our guest graduated BS Biology and is currently taking up her master's degree in conservation and restoration ecology. She is also an artist and art educator, and her advocacy is to promote Philippine biodiversity through visual arts. She is no other than Miss Kathleen. Miss Kathleen, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
And thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure. That was a wonderful introduction, by the way.
You're welcome. So, Miss Kathleen, can you tell us a little something about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Kathleen. I am a nature-based art educator, and what that means is I conduct art workshops, and I do not do it in a typical classroom setup. We prefer doing it in a nature setup. So you would imagine it's kind of like a picnic setup where we do our art workshops, and then this is where I inject most of the nature concepts that I would like to teach and impart to others.
Right. Thank you. That was a fun way of setting up.
It is.
So, tell us something about what you do and who you work with.
Awesome. What I do is, as an art educator, I teach art workshops and insert nature concepts or ecological concepts, the same concepts that is being taught in the classroom, and inject that into my art workshops outside. As an artist, I paint our species that can be found only in the Philippines, and I work with certain non-government organizations for this, like Haribon Foundation, Philippine Taxonomic Initiative, and many other organizations who have the same goal.
Thank you. That was awesome.
It is.
So, when did you start being inspired with nature?
That's a good question. I guess it started at an early age, ever since I was young. I grew up in an urban setting, but every time we go to the province, I have always this love and affection to the nature around me, to the natural world. For some reason, I always get amazed by the towering trees, the details of the leaves, and this sparks a lot of questions in my mind, like, why do bees get attracted to flowers? How do these trees get so tall and some of these other trees just grow smaller? Those kinds of questions. So it really started at an early age.
Wow, that's awesome. So were you so curious at that time?
I was, actually. It's one of the best things, I guess, that anyone could have. It's the curiosity about the natural world, and the ability to ask any questions.
Right, thank you. So how about art? When did you first become captivated with art?
It also started at an early age. My mom has been very supportive when it comes to exposing me to different mediums. So I have experiences with crafts, but when it comes to drawing or painting, I have this I have this kind of bias when it comes to painting the natural world. I remember seeing this scene from a TV series called Prince Seti, and there was like a hill, and Prince Seti was at the top of that hill, and I so vividly remembered I wanted to capture that because it was such a peaceful scene. It started at an early age, and I've brought that up until today.
That's amazing because I also did what you did when I was a kid.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I copy drawings. I copy drawings like from movies and other images.
That is so cool. It's one of the best ways to get inspired.
Yes. So now tell us the journey of how you combined your love for nature and art.
That is a wonderful question. I think it started when I was in college, when I was deciding what course I should take in. Should I be taking a course that has relation to arts, which I know I would be succeeding because I'll be loving what I'm doing, or should I take a science path, which I know I might be a little challenged to do that, to excel in the field, but I know that I still love science. But due to practicality reasons, I chose science, taking up the science path. And so I took up BS biology, and I made a promise to myself that one day I'd find a job that has both my love for science and the arts. And I didn't actually expect that I'd be here in this situation doing this, where I am able to teach and art workshops and tie my love for both science and the arts. It's actually a dream come true.
Wow, that was a very inspiring journey.
Thank you.
So now, help me out. Paint me a picture of how your workshops are done. Who are your audience, and how do you do it?
Okay. So in a typical workshop, nature-based art workshop, it starts off with a nature walk in an urban green space. So say, for example, in Ninoy Aquino Parks and Wildlife, we go on a tour around the parks, and then I give a nature or tree walk, and then identify some species, what are their benefits, and then we have a short break. We arrive at a safe space where we can gather together and do the art workshop afterwards. And the art workshop would revolve around what they have seen during the nature walk, and they'd get the opportunity to learn the basics of the medium, for example, watercolor, and apply that skill in painting the subject that they have been captivated during the workshop or the nature walk.
So it's wow. So it's like you're conducting a school, but it's from a green space. That yeah, you said that before.
It is very much like that, yes.
It is also it's very fun because students would never have to be bored,
That is true.
because it's instead of writing in a chalkboard, you would have to show their paintings.
Yes, that's one of the most exciting things about doing this outside, yeah.
That will also spark their creativity and inspiration.
That is a good point.
You're trying to grow creativity and inspiration to all children in this country.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you see that. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. So now, however, what if it rains? Will you stop the workshop?
That is a good question because I'll take that as an opportunity to discuss one of the challenges of doing these workshops. So when doing these workshops, what I have learned in a hard way before was I was not able to secure, in one of those early workshops that I did, I was not able to secure a safe space for the participants. So it was just an open space. And I did not think ahead about the possibility of raining. So it did have like a slight shower, and we had to relocate 3 times to be able to find a safe space where there's enough forest or tree cover so that we can conduct the workshop. And it was embarrassing for me, as you would imagine. But it was a great learning opportunity for me as well as an educator, because for you to be able to teach concepts effectively, you have to set the space for the learning to be conducive. Much like in a classroom setup, students need to have a good classroom setting or be in a good classroom setting for them to be able to absorb all of the learnings that they will be learning on that day.
Okay, that was a good strategy.
Thank you.
However, are you okay when you relocated 3 times?
It was hard for me, to be honest.
Did you catch a cold?
Well, it was not a heavy rain. It was a slight shower
Yeah.
only. So fortunately, no one got sick. But again, the whole experience taught me a lot, because I was there and I needed to explain to the parents of the kids that I was not able to prepare anything, so that's really hard to swallow.
Okay. So, how is doing these workshops different from learning the concepts of nature in the classroom? Oh, because my teacher can also teach me about those things inside the classroom, and they also have an aircon.
Well, that is one thing that I do not have, air condition, but that is a wonderful question to ask, because in doing these or teaching these concepts, nature-based concepts, you're definitely right. You can learn all of this in a classroom setup. The teacher can write it in the board or present a PowerPoint presentation about it. But the thing with learning outside or doing this in nature is people or the participants get to actually have an experiential learning about it. And what that means is they get to retain the learning more in their memories because they actually see, they actually feel, they hear. Sometimes they even taste some of the fruits. And so the retention of the information gets in their brain or lasts longer in their brain because they have an experience about it. They can write about it. Whereas compared in the classroom setup, sometimes it just slips out of the brain because students cannot actually relate. I'm not saying that the classroom setup is not a good setup. It is still. But this is actually a good addition to the classroom setup that we have in our school system.
Okay, so aside from using PowerPoint, you use physical contact to
Yes.
those details, so they can have more experience and they can even relate to it.
Yes, absolutely. You got that on point.
Okay, so what? So I am amazed because your work seems interesting. Do you see yourself doing this in the future?
Hmm. Wow. Okay, that's a good question. That gets me to ponder. I think yes. I think there's a need for a platform where people can not only learn inside the classroom but also substantiate that learning outside. And this is a good for not only for kids who are learning in a typical classroom setup, but also for kids who are doing homeschool, or learning through homeschool. And so, yes, because there's a need, I see that I am still going to be doing this in the future too.
Thank you.
And I hope that there'd be more, not just me.
Okay, thank you. That's very inspiring as well.
Thank you.
So to close this interview, do you have a message for those who want to follow or do what you're working on?
To anyone who would like to do this kind of job that I'm doing, I guess the only message that I have is to really put your heart into what you're doing, because if you don't have the passion, it will actually show. Being an art educator is not that easy of a task because you have to tie in concepts of art and be able to find a way to insert or inject concepts of ecology, nature, the environment into those art techniques. And from what I've learned, it takes someone who has experience in both the fields of art and science to actually marry them in a beautiful and creative way. And so if you have the passion for both, I think you'd be able to translate that into something that you'll be able to communicate to others and inspire others to do as well.
That's words are so inspiring.
Thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome. So that's it for all today. Thank you for listening to this interview, and also thank you, my dear interviewee, because your work is so amazing.
Thank you.
It is very inspiring. Your journey, it's so heartwarming.
I am so glad that that is how it looks like in your perspective. And thank you for having me today. It's really a pleasure doing this interview with you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, you're welcome. Alright, that's it for today. This is Isaiah signing out.